You know what, folks? I have been gardening for over 60 years, and this year's cucumber harvest is absolutely the biggest I have ever seen. 500%. Yes, you heard that right. A 500% increase in yield. And these cucumbers are incredibly crisp, sweet, and perfectly green. And get this, the secret behind this massive explosion of growth did not cost me a single penny at the expensive gardening center this spring. For decades, we have been told to buy expensive chemical fertilizers, but those harsh chemicals actually destroy the natural life hidden deep inside your soil. The truth is, your garden soil is not just dirt. It is a living, breathing ecosystem filled with billions of tiny workers that feed plants. My grandfather used to say that if you feed the soil will feed your plants. That is where this simple, dark molasses comes in. This sticky syrup is packed with carbon and essential trace minerals. It acts as the ultimate energy drink for the beneficial bacteria living underground. When you apply this $0 mixture, the good microbes in the dirt multiply rapidly, breaking down organic matter into pure nutrients for cucumber roots. My neighbors simply could not believe their eyes when they saw these vines climbing over the wooden trellis, practically breaking under the heavy weight. They were spending $50 a week on blue chemical powders, while I was using a simple kitchen leftover to achieve a 5 times bigger harvest. We are going to brew what old American farmers call a compost tea. It is a natural, organic brew that wakes up every sleeping microbe. Today, I am going to show you my exact 10-minute morning ritual. It is so easy, anyone can do it right in their own backyard. Not only will this give you unlimited cucumbers, but this healthy soil ecosystem makes your plants so strong that pests simply stay completely away. So put down that expensive fertilizer bag right now. I will walk you through every single step to transform your garden into a green jungle. Let us head over to the compost pile first. That is where the real magic of this $0 secret actually begins to take shape. Now look at this old compost bin. This is where we gather our black gold, the foundation of everything we grow here. Good compost is already full of life. It contains millions of dormant bacteria and fungi just waiting to be activated. But if you just put it on the ground, it takes a long time for them to wake up and feed your cucumbers. That is why we use this unsulfured molasses. It acts like a lightning bolt of pure energy for those microorganisms. You see, molasses is full of simple sugars, iron, and magnesium. It is the perfect breakfast for our underground workforce. When these microbes eat the sugar, they wake up hungry. They start multiplying by the billions in just a few hours. Chemical fertilizers try to feed the plant directly, skipping the soil completely. But that leaves the soil dead and dry like dust. A dead soil cannot protect your cucumbers from diseases or extreme heat. But a living soil creates a fortress of health. This sweet syrup triggers a biological explosion. It changes the entire chemistry of your garden bed naturally. And the best part? It is incredibly cheap. A single jar from the grocery store can feed your entire garden for a whole season. We do not need fancy laboratory chemicals when nature already gave us the perfect solution right in our kitchens. By mixing this sugar with water and our black gold compost, we are creating a concentrated, life-giving serum. My neighbors used to laugh when they smelled the sweet aroma coming from my backyard every single spring morning, but they stopped laughing when they saw the size of my cucumbers and how crisp they tasted compared to theirs. So let us get everything set up right here. I will show you the exact proportions for the perfect brew. Take a look at these 2 garden beds right here. One is thriving with life, while the other is struggling to survive the summer heat. For years, folks relied on those blue chemical powders. Sure, they feed the plant for a single day, but they completely salt and burn the earth. When you use synthetic fertilizers, the salts build up and actually dehydrate the beneficial bacteria. The soil becomes nothing more than dead, empty dust. Now let me tell you something about this other bed. This soil has not seen a single drop of chemical fertilizer in over 10 years. Instead, it is packed with billions of invisible workers. One single spoonful of this healthy dirt contains more living organisms than people on Earth. And what do these billions of tiny workers love to eat the most? Simple, natural carbohydrates, exactly like the ones found in this molasses jar. When you mix this sweet syrup with your compost, you are serving a 5-star banquet to the bacteria and beneficial fungi living underground. They consume the sugars, multiply rapidly, and start breaking down organic matter. They literally digest the compost and turn it into pure plant food. My grandmother taught me this when I was just a boy. The microbes trade these natural nutrients directly with the cucumber roots for survival. This beautiful partnership creates a massive, deep root system. A healthy root network can reach up to 10 times deeper than chemically treated plants. Because the roots are so deep and strong, the plant can easily survive heat waves and droughts that would normally destroy a regular cucumber vine. Plus, this living soil acts like an immune system. It actually prevents bad fungi and soil-borne diseases from ever reaching your precious garden plants. So, by spending $0 and just using a little bit of kitchen leftover, we are completely changing the chemistry of our backyard garden. Nature has its way of teaching us, folks. We just need to stop fighting it and start working together with the underground ecosystem. Now that you understand the science behind it, let me show you exactly how to brew this magic tea and apply it correctly today. All right, folks, gather around. This right here is where the magic happens. We only need 3 basic ingredients to start brewing our liquid gold today. First, we start with 5 gallons of clean water. If you use city water, let it sit overnight so the chlorine completely evaporates away. Next, we take 2 large handfuls of our rich, dark compost. This acts as the seed, providing the billions of dormant microbes we need. Just gently drop that compost right into the water. You will immediately see the water turn a beautiful, earthy brown as the nutrients dissolve. Now for the most crucial step. We add exactly 2 tablespoons of our unsulfured molasses. This is the fuel that wakes everybody up. Watch closely as the thick syrup hits the water. It dissolves slowly, instantly turning the bucket into a massive feast for the beneficial bacteria. You need to stir this mixture vigorously with a wooden stick. We want to get as much oxygen into this water as humanly possible. Underground, these microbes breathe oxygen just like we do. If they do not get enough air while brewing, the good bacteria will simply drown. To make it even better, I like to drop in a cheap aquarium air pump. It keeps the water bubbling and the oxygen flowing constantly. Look at those bubbles rising to the surface. Inside that bucket, the microbial population is doubling every single hour thanks to the sweet molasses. We are going to let this brew sit in a shady spot for about 24 to 36 hours. Do not let it sit any longer. After a day of brewing, the tea should have a deep, rich amber color. It will develop a sweet, pleasant, and highly earthy aroma. If it smells bad or sour, you did not use enough oxygen. But this batch right here smells absolutely perfect, like a fresh forest floor. Before we use it, we strain the liquid through an old cloth. This keeps the larger compost particles from clogging up your watering can. Now that our magic tea is perfectly brewed and strained, let me show you the exact watering technique to maximize your cucumber harvest. Now, having the perfect compost tea is only half the battle. If you water your plants the wrong way, you could ruin everything. First rule of the garden: never pour this liquid directly over the cucumber leaves. That is exactly how you invite powdery mildew and fungal diseases. When the hot morning sun hits those wet, sticky leaves, it creates a breeding ground for bad spores that can destroy your entire vine overnight. Instead, you want to get the spout of your watering can right down here, directly at the base of the main stem near the dirt. Pour the compost tea slowly and steadily. We want the liquid to soak deeply into the earth, right where the root system actually needs it. You see, deep watering encourages the roots to grow further down, seeking moisture. This makes the plant incredibly resilient during those scorching summer heat waves. My grandfather always told me it is much better to water deeply twice a week than to give them a shallow sprinkle every single day. A shallow sprinkle keeps the roots lazy and close to the surface, where they quickly dry out and die when the afternoon sun gets brutal. To lock all that beautiful moisture and microbial life inside the soil, We use a simple layer of organic mulch around the cucumber plants. This thick blanket of straw acts like a protective shield. It blocks the harsh sun, prevents evaporation, and keeps the underground workers perfectly cool. Underneath this protective layer, the beneficial bacteria from our molasses tea can work continuously, breaking down nutrients without ever being burned by solar radiation. And timing is absolutely everything, folks. You always want to apply this magical tea early in the morning before the intense heat sets in. Morning application gives the soil plenty of time to absorb the liquid and allows any accidental splashes on the lower leaves to dry completely. By following this simple watering ritual, you are not just feeding the plant, you are building an invincible fortress of health right in your backyard. Next, I am going to show you exactly what happens underground over the next 14 days. The transformation is going to absolutely blow your mind. Now let me tell you something about patience. The real magic does not happen overnight, but watch what happens over the next 14 days. By day 3, those hungry microbes have fully digested the sweet molasses. The cucumber roots respond by immediately pushing out thousands of tiny new feeder hairs. I always check the soil moisture around day 3. You will notice the earth feels incredibly spongy, smelling deeply rich and sweet like a forest floor. By day 5, the main stem of the vine becomes twice as thick. It turns into a massive highway, pumping gallons of water and nutrients upwards. At the 1-week mark, things get completely out of control. The vines start shooting up the wooden trellis, growing almost 6 inches in a single day. I have been gardening for 60 years, and let me tell you, watching a plant grow this fast without any chemical nitrogen still completely amazes me. By day 10, the leaves become absolutely massive. They turn a deep, dark green color, acting like giant solar panels soaking up the summer sun. Because the cellular structure is so incredibly strong now, common garden pests and fungal spores literally cannot penetrate the thick outer layer of these healthy leaves. Then comes day 12. The entire green wall suddenly explodes with hundreds of bright yellow blossoms. It is a clear sign of massive underground energy. You will start hearing the beautiful hum of bumblebees all day long. The healthy plants produce sweeter nectar, attracting every single pollinator in the neighborhood. Finally, we reach day 14. Right behind those wilting yellow flowers, you will see dozens of perfect, tiny green cucumbers starting to swell up rapidly. Down below the surface, the root system is now a massive, unstoppable network. It has secured enough water to feed an army of growing cucumbers. Look at this magnificent green jungle, folks. In just 2 short weeks, that $0 compost tea has completely transformed a quiet garden bed into a powerhouse. And remember, we did not spend $50 on synthetic fertilizers to achieve this. We just gave nature exactly what it needed to do the job. But the real proof is in the harvest. Let me show you what happens when these tiny baby fruits grow to their full, massive potential. Now, I want you to take a really close look at this beauty right here. This single cucumber weighs almost 3 times more than a regular store-bought one. Listen to that incredibly crisp snap when you harvest it. That sound tells you the plant has absorbed massive amounts of water and pure organic nutrients. When you cut into it, the inside is completely solid, incredibly juicy, and sweet. There are absolutely no hollow, empty spaces or bitter dry spots inside. Chemical fertilizers often make cucumbers grow way too fast, leaving them watery and completely flavorless. But slow, natural microbial growth builds deep, rich, incredible flavor. Just this morning alone, I pulled over 40 massive cucumbers from this single wooden trellis. And this is only the 2nd week of our summer harvest. We are talking about a genuine 500% increase in total yield compared to my old chemically treated garden beds from 10 years ago. My neighbor actually walked over yesterday, saw these overflowing baskets and asked if I was secretly buying them from the local farmer market down the road. I handed him one to taste, and he was completely speechless. He simply could not believe this came from the exact same soil he has next door. I brought out my old glass jar of molasses and told him my $0 secret. At first, he thought I was just playing a silly old joke, but the proof is sitting right here in the dirt. You simply cannot argue with nature when she decides to reward you with a massive, healthy bounty. I keep a little garden journal every year. Last season, without the compost tea, this exact same row produced maybe 20 pounds of fruit total. This year, using just water, compost, and sweet molasses, we have already crossed 100 pounds, and the vines are still producing new yellow flowers daily. You see, when you feed the underground ecosystem, the soil actually gets better and richer every single year, instead of becoming depleted and salty like dust. Even while producing all this heavy fruit, the cucumber roots down below are still bright white, deeply hydrated, and completely protected by our friendly underground microbes. So if you want to stop wasting your hard-earned money and start growing the best cucumbers of your life, you need to trust the natural process. When you have watched as many sunrises in the garden as I have, you realize that nature already figured everything out millions of years ago. We spent the last 50 years trying to outsmart the earth with harsh laboratory chemicals, but all we did was slowly destroy our own backyard ecosystems. By simply returning to the old ways and feeding the soil with natural sugars, we can heal the earth and grow incredibly healthy food for our families. Underneath our feet, those billions of microscopic workers are just waiting for a little bit of sweet molasses to wake up and start building a thriving paradise. I learned this $0 secret from my own grandfather many decades ago, and I am incredibly proud to pass it down to you today. Imagine if every single neighborhood stopped buying those expensive blue chemical bags and started brewing their own rich, organic compost tea instead. The world would change. We would not only save thousands of hard-earned dollars, but we would also leave behind a much healthier, greener planet for the next generation of young gardeners. The massive cucumber harvest you saw today is just a small reward for treating the living soil with the absolute respect and care that it truly deserves. So, I highly encourage you to go out to your kitchen right now, grab that jar of molasses, and start brewing your own liquid garden gold today. Your plants will immediately thank you, your garden soil will quickly come back to life, and your neighbors will definitely be begging for your farming secrets. Well, the sun is starting to set here on the farm, so it is finally time for this old cowboy to put his trusty tools away. Thank you all so much for spending your valuable time walking through the green garden rows with me and learning about the magic of the soil. If you learned something completely new today, please hit that subscribe button down below so we can keep growing this amazing organic farming community together. Do not forget to share this video with your gardening friends who might be struggling with their own cucumber vines this incredibly hot summer season. Until next time, keep your hands muddy, keep your soil living, and always remember that nature provides the very best solutions. See you later, folks.